Understood. I will write the entire story in 20 parts, each part consisting of 2 paragraphs, keeping the text brief but compelling, following your summary, and maintaining suspense, emotion, and clarity. Here's the full story. Daniel and David were only 11 when life turned against them. Their mother, Vivian, lay in a hospital bed, pale and fragile, her cough echoing in the sterile room. Bills piled higher than the walls around them, and every pleading call to the hospital was met with a cold refusal. With no father and no resources, the twins felt trapped in a nightmare they couldn't escape. At night, they huddled together, whispering ideas and plans, their small minds racing for a solution that could save their mother. Desperation had sharpened their wits, and the seed of a dangerous idea took root. They would take what they needed from someone who had too much. In their small bedroom, they mapped out their plan. They knew of Charles Patrick, a billionaire rumored to be untouchable, a man whose fortune could cover their mother's treatment several times over. The twins, clever beyond their years, researched every detail, from his security systems to his routines. Using chemicals they had studied in science lab, they devised a method to incapacitate him temporarily without causing permanent harm. Fear mingled with excitement as they prepared, knowing the line between life and death could hinge on the success of their bold plan. They promised each other silently. Nothing could stop them from saving their mother. The night of the attempt arrived with a quiet tension. The twins moved like shadows, slipping past guards and cameras with precision of practiced thieves. Every heartbeat felt deafening, every footstep a risk. Daniel held the vial tightly, while David monitored their timing, their movements synchronized as if born to execute this mission. When they reached the billionaire study, Charles Patrick sat unaware, reviewing papers, lost in his world of wealth. With trembling hands but determined hearts, they released a chemical, and Charles slumped into a deep, harmless sleep. Their success was immediate, but tempered with guilt, the weight of their audacity pressing down upon them. As the twins searched Charles's office for the bank access they had calculated, their hearts pounded with nervous adrenaline. Then, on his desk, a photograph caught David's eye, a younger woman with a familiar smile and kind eyes. Daniel reached over, and they both froze. It was their mother, Vivian. Shock collided with disbelief, and their plan faltered as the pieces of an impossible puzzle fell into place. They whispered her name, held up the picture, and pleaded with Charles, explaining the life-threatening state of their mother. Their words were desperate, raw, and innocent, pierced into the haze of his unconscious stupor. When Charles stirred, the recognition hit him like a lightning bolt. Vivian, the woman he had loved and lost so many years ago, the mother of his children. Memories of a past life rushed back, the laughter, the promises, the abrupt separation that had haunted him. He saw the fear in the twins' eyes, the urgency and love driving their audacious actions. Without hesitation, he leapt into action, contacting the hospital, covering every bill, arranging the best doctors, ensuring Vivian's treatment would be immediate and complete. The reunion was unspoken yet profound. Destiny had reunited them to the courage of 2 small children. Vivian's eyes fluttered open to find Charles at her bedside, calm but intense, his presence overwhelming. Her weak smile spoke volumes, her heart racing as the story unfolded. The robbery, the pleading, the photograph. Tears streamed as the truth settled, mingling disbelief with relief. She learned about their cleverness, their bravery, and how they had risked everything to keep her alive. Charles held her hand, his own guilt and sorrow pouring out, explaining why he had left and how he had searched for her endlessly. The twins watched, awestruck, as their fractured family began to stitch itself together. Life began to shift in unimaginable ways. Vivian's health improved, thanks to the care Charles could provide, and the twins no longer had to navigate a cruel, uncaring world alone. The billionaire showed them a new life of security, but more importantly, a life filled with attention, love, and guidance. Charles spent hours with Daniel and David, teaching them, listening to them, and nurturing the bond he had unknowingly abandoned. Their cleverness was no longer a tool for survival, but a bridge to connection, their youthful ingenuity finally rewarded with guidance and love. Despite the newfound comfort, the twins struggled to reconcile the man who had abandoned them with the father before them. Questions arose. Why had he left? Why hadn't he searched harder? Why now? Charles, patient and remorseful, answered each with honesty, explaining the travels, the searches, the regret that had consumed him. Slowly, trust built, fragile but unbreakable, as he demonstrated through action that love could indeed forgive and repair. The three of them, mother and sons, began to navigate the delicate path from desperation to belonging, each step imbued with hope and lingering shadows of the past. School life resumed, but the twins carried their secret with them, a story too extraordinary for anyone else to comprehend. Their classmates noticed a newfound confidence, a quiet cleverness in their actions and speech. Daniel and David shared knowing glances, a private language of understanding forged in hardship. At night, they whispered each other about the life they had stolen from fate itself, the adventure that had saved their mother, and the man who was now their father. In these moments, their bond strengthened, not just as brothers, but as a family reunited by courage, intelligence, and almost impossible twist of destiny. Charles introduced them to the luxuries of his life, but he ensured the twins remained grounded, learning responsibility and ethics. He taught them not to abuse power, but to use intelligence and strategy for good. Vivian, recovering rapidly, marveled at the transformations, proud of her sons, but cautious not to let their past desperation turn into entitlement. The house filled with laughter, lessons, and warmth, a stark contrast to the sterile, frightening hospital rooms of past. The family found a rhythm, a balance between past suffering and present joy, each day a testament to resilience and the improbable way destiny had brought them together. But not all was smooth. Challenges emerged as the twins struggled with guilt over their reckless actions. How could they reconcile knocking out a man, even if he was their father, with morality? Charles guided them patiently, showing that intentions, courage, and consequences mattered, and that mistakes could lead to growth. The twins absorbed every lesson, their hearts heavy yet enlightened, understanding that life's harsh lessons could be tempered with wisdom. Their mother, ever watchful, reminded them that bravery had saved lives and love had saved them all, knitting the family closer with each conversation. The media, curious about a recent news leak, caught wind of Charles Patrick's sudden generosity to Vivian's hospital. Reporters hounded them, unaware of the intricate tale of desperation and reunion behind the story. Charles shielded the twins from exposure, explaining the importance of privacy and discretion. The boys learned that influence carried responsibility, and that heroism could be quiet and unseen. Even at 11, they grasped lessons about power, ethics, and integrity, understanding that their audacious actions had consequences that stretched far beyond themselves. In time, Daniel and David began experimenting with small inventions and clever strategies under Charles's guidance. The mansion became a laboratory of creativity, a playground for intellect. They channeled the ingenuity that had once led them to risk everything in constructive endeavors. Charles, thrilled to see the twins thrive, nurtured their talents, ensuring they understood the balance between curiosity and caution. Vivian, now healthier than ever, watched her children blossom with pride, marveling at the resilience that had defined them from birth. Friendships grew, but the twins never forgot the fear and desperation that had driven them. They visited hospitals, sharing time and small inventions with other sick children, teaching them hope and ingenuity. Their story, though hidden from the public, became a moral compass, shaping their character and deepening their empathy. Daniel and David understood that life would be cruel, but courage and intelligence could bend its course. They had learned that even the smallest hands could change destiny. As years passed, Charles introduced the twins to his business ventures, teaching them about entrepreneurship, ethics, and innovation. They absorbed knowledge like sponges, their youthful brilliance blossoming under his mentorship. Yet, the twins remained grounded, never forgetting the hospital rooms, the fear, and the desperation that had fueled their early genius. Vivian's guidance, combined with Charles's wealth of experience, created an environment where love and intellect intertwined, preparing them for lives of purpose and impact. Daniel and David's bond with Charles deepened, blending fatherly guidance with friendship and respect. They shared stories of their childhood fears, their nights of planning and scheming, and their moments of doubt. Charles listened, absorbing each detail with remorse and pride, shaping his role as both mentor and guardian. The twins realized that family was not just blood, but actions, care, and forgiveness. Their shared history, once fragmented by absence and secrecy, now formed a tapestry rich with love, courage, and redemption. The twins' adventurous spirits never waned, often dreaming up daring challenges and creative experiments. Charles, though protective, allowed them space to explore, understanding that ingenuity thrived in freedom. Vivian encouraged curiosity, reminding them that life's lessons were often hidden in risk, intelligence, and moral choice. The home, once defined by sickness and fear, now echoed with laughter, debates, and the thrill of discovery. Every corner held memories of survival and triumph, a constant reminder of the power of family and love. Eventually, the family's past became a source of strength rather than shame. The story of the hospital, the robbery, and the reunion remained private, a sacred testament to courage and love. Charles, Vivian, and the twins grew inseparable, their lives intertwined by fate and resilience. Daniel and David thrived academically and socially, their early desperation shaping them into empathetic, clever, and responsible young individuals. They learned that hardship could forge character, and that love, when reunited, could heal wounds that time alone could never touch. The twins, now confident and resourceful, often reflected on the journey that had saved their mother and reunited their family. They realized that life had tested them in unimaginable ways, but their ingenuity and courage had changed everything. Charles, once absent and searching, became a constant, loving presence, guiding them and sharing wisdom born of experience. Vivian, healthy and strong, continued to nurture her children, instilling values of empathy, intelligence, and resilience. Together, they built a life defined by love, family, and triumph over adversity. In the quiet evenings, Daniel and David often sat with Charles and Vivian, sharing stories, dreams, and laughter. They celebrated small victories and planned the future, their minds sharp and hearts open. The mansion, once a symbol of unattainable wealth, became a home of warmth, learning, and endless possibilities. The twins understood that courage, intelligence, and love had brought them here, and that their choices, even in desperation, could create extraordinary outcomes. As they grew older, the twins carried the lessons of their childhood into every endeavor. They embraced challenges with confidence, approached problems with ingenuity, and treated others with compassion and fairness. Charles and Vivian watched with pride as Daniel and David became embodiments of resilience, intelligence, and moral courage. The family story, though unique and extraordinary, became a quiet legend of love, reunion, and the incredible power of hope. In the end, what had begun as desperation became a story of triumph. The twins, once small and fearful, had reshaped their destiny through courage, cleverness, and unwavering love for their mother. Charles and Vivian, reunited by fate and the audacity of their children, embraced life fully, cherishing every moment. Together, they created a legacy of intelligence, resilience, and compassion, proving that even the smallest, bravest hearts could change the course of their world. If you want, I can also create a full 20-image visual storyboard for the story with Nigerian dark-skinned characters, including scene details, character breakdowns, and AI image prompts, so each chapter can have a cinematic visual representation. Do you want me to do that next?